so we're going to take out the automatic transmission filter assembly out. As I said, there's 3 Phillips screws that hold it in place, and we have the new one down here already, ready to go. Imagine trying to do this with a car on jacks or on a ramp. So, as I said, it's highly recommended that you do this on a lift. Alright, so there's the old filter, and one of the gaskets actually stayed in the transmission. Be sure to take that out because the new one has it, and the other one is actually in here. So the new filter has the new gaskets already attached to it. So we're just draining the remaining fluid from the filter, and we're going to put the new one back in. And we're going to take this pan out on the light in a little bit. First of all, to replace the gasket, and also take a look inside to see if there's any ferrous material down there indicating gearing filings and that sort of thing. So here goes the new filter, and that's pretty much self-aligning. Oops.
Slippery.
It's a bit slippery. Okay, that's done. We're going to take the pan and a little bit better light and inspect it. Okay, so here's the pan. We're still with the remaining original oil in there. We're going to dump it out, and it looks pretty clean, the pan. It doesn't seem to have any metal chunks of any significant size or quantity. Yeah, it's pretty clean. Okay, so we're going to clean it up a little bit, and we're going to put a new gasket. So there's a gasket coming out, the old one. And we're going to put the new one in and put the pan back in. Okay, so here's the cleaned up transmission fluid pan. And one word of caution: when you clean the inside of the pan, you want to use a lint-free rag. You don't want any lint going inside the transmission because it could severely damage your transmission. Okay, so again, lint-free rag. Okay, we're going to put the new gasket on, and there are 2 tabs that should be clipped onto the side of the pan. Okay, and there's the clipping action right there on one side, and the clipping action on the other side. And that's all that there is to it. Okay, so we're ready to put it back into the car. Okay, so we put the pan back in, and everything is hand tight. So now we're ready for the very next critical step, which is we're going to torque down the bolts to the specified 8 Newton meters. And 8 Newton meters is about almost 6 foot-pounds. Alright, so that should be all of them. And we're going to double check it and go through around one more time. Perfect. Okay, so we double checked the torques in here. We double checked the drain plug here and also on the torque converter. We're about ready to put in the front cover here, the plastic cover. And very, very important, make sure that you've removed the socket, the 27mm socket that goes on the crankshaft bolt right there. You do not want to start that engine with that socket in place there. Alright, we're gonna button down here and then we're gonna go and do the initial fill up of the transmission from the engine bay. Yeah, just one more thing here. We got to put back these cable assemblies. So again, we're reusing the same reusable tie wraps or zip ties, and we're going to plug in this big cable right here into its appropriate hole. Alright, so that's one tie wrap. There's another one in the back over here, and then this big cable gets plugged in to its hole right there. Okay, that's all done. Okay, so we're back up on the engine bay side now. We have to put those two shrouds that we took out back in. Okay, and we're going to start with the inner one first. Okay, and then we put the outside one next. And there's some clips here, you can see right here, that goes into the metal right here of this part of the radiator. And there's also some clips, unfortunately it's hard to see, down below. It takes some fiddling, but it also helps if you have it the right side up.
It's the top.
Yeah, the top, it says so right there. There she goes. Okay, it's locked. We put the top clip in. That's locked in place, and now there's two metal clips, one on each side. One there, and there's one that's about 3 inches or so down below. And that's all there is to it. So the shroud should be back on. I turned the fan manually, make sure that there's no interference, so that's good to go. Alright, I want to show a little detail on the dipstick, the automatic transmission fluid dipstick. On my Mercedes, I actually have a full dipstick. On some of the later models, you guys don't have the full dipstick. You actually have to buy one from Mercedes that has the metal stem here that goes all the way into the transmission, has the markings on there. But this particular one, it doesn't just pull out. There's a little lever right here that you have to flip it this way so you can pull it out. Okay, otherwise it's locked into place like so. So this is locked and unlocked. Okay, so we're about ready to do the initial fill up. The transmission fluid quantity is 6.2 liters. We're going to do a fill up of 5 liters, start the engine, run it through the gears, let the torque converter fill up, and then we'll top off with the rest of the 1.2 liters. Okay, so let's do an initial fill up and we'll get right back to you. Okay, so at the end of the dipstick there are some markings. One of them is 30 degrees C, the other one is 80 degrees C. And they're referring to the temperature of the fluid pan underneath the car. So what we have to do is we have to use a pyrometer, which is a fancy word for an infrared thermometer, to measure the temperature of the pan and fill it to the appropriate level here. There's a very narrow range. It's about, oh, I want to say almost half an inch. I'm sorry, about 3/8 of an inch wide range for both the 80 degrees C and the 30 degrees C range. So that's very important. You definitely do not want to overfill this transmission. Okay, so we just filled the transmission with 5 liters of new transmission fluid, and we're going to start up the car and run the engine through the different gears, get that fluid warmed up. Then we're going to raise up the car to check the temperature of the pan so we can fill it ultimately to the final level. And you also want to inspect the transmission pan, make sure that there are no leaks, and again, there appears to be none. So it looks good. So we're going to take the car around for a spin. Right now it's indicating on the high of the 30-degree mark. So we're going to drive the car around, get it up to 80 degrees Celsius, and then we'll do the final fill up. Alright, so I just took the car on a 4.5-mile spin, and using my pyrometer, the temperature on the pan is exactly 80 degrees Celsius, and we just measured on the dipstick, and it's right on the limit of the 80 degrees, so we are good to go. So that's it. So that's how you change the transmission fluid and the filter on a 1994 Mercedes E320.